Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to A.V.Astronomy. Aaron here, and I am so excited today. It has been over 5 months since I last imaged with the 8-inch RC here, and I'm really looking forward to trying out the Optolong Luminance Pro filter tonight. This is going to be a very challenging target. I'm going after IC 342, also known as the hidden galaxy. This galaxy is concealed by cosmic dust and star fields, you name it. It is a really difficult target, even with large aperture instruments in the first place. But you know, imaging in less than ideal conditions and Bortle 5 skies, which I know aren't the worst, and I'll take it. I know a lot of you out there are imaging with much worse light pollution than what I'm dealing with, but in broadband targets like this, it makes it that much more challenging. So there's hoping that Optolong Luminance Pro filter will make a difference here and help me get the most out of my exposures tonight. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get things set up, and we'll get this show on the road. We are going to be using the Canon 77D DSLR and guided with the ASI 120 mini mono camera and 60mm guide scope, and we'll be imaging with the 8-inch TPO RC telescope. Alright guys, so this is actually night 2. I had set everything up last night and I actually got a couple subs in, but what was supposed to be a clear night ended up actually being a night full of haze and sporadic clouds. So last night didn't go very well, but I am optimistic about tonight. The humidity is supposed to be even lower, supposed to have better conditions, better seeing, so hopefully this will make up for it. I hope to get in a good 4 or 5 hours of data tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this, and I will see you guys shortly. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this target that I'm going after tonight, IC 342, also known as the hidden galaxy. This is by far, other than the Iris Nebula, one of the most challenging targets I've gone after, and it's relatively faint. So this is a kind of target where really, you know, being at a dark site would be ideal. I'm hoping that this Luminance Pro filter will help give me an edge, giving my lighting conditions, which aren't the worst. They could be worse, but hoping to get a good result here. A couple of things I wanted to mention too when imaging with an RC telescope. Collimation is so important, and it's something that I am constantly honing in on and getting better at. I actually already have a tutorial video on that, and I'll put the link in the description down below so you can access that easily. But that should help get you on the right foot with collimation and getting your RC collimated. And I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but those are my kids. Anyway, collimation is key. You want to get it honed in as best you can. And while perfect collimation, especially with these type of lower end economical RC telescopes, is very difficult to achieve, but if I can get something that's pretty close and gives me a fairly sharp image, I'm okay with that. So if you have an RC telescope and you're frustrated, you're not alone, number one. Number two, just get the image sharp. You know, follow the tutorial, do a star test, and check it in the daytime. You know, point it at something far away down the street and see how sharp it is. Zoom all the way in and see how sharp your image is. If you're coming out with nice sharp images, don't worry about what it looks like in the Cheshire or the laser collimator, because you can have a telescope that's mechanically aligned but not optically be aligned, if that makes any sense. But anyway, just wanted to give you guys some pointers on that in case you're struggling with the RC telescope. or other Cassegrain type style telescopes that can be a bit of a bear when it comes to getting them aligned. But when they're working properly, they are awesome imaging instruments. So to me, it's worth the extra effort to getting those things, to getting those scopes honed in and working out all the bugs. And there's another scuffle. Well, the scope is in the process of getting calibrated in PhD, and as soon as that's done, I'm going to get outside here and hope to gather some solid data. And I'll show you guys the results at the end. So tonight makes night 3 that I have set up and attempted to image, only to be foiled by massive dew. I'm talking heavy dew, and this started at like 8 o'clock. So plus there's like a haze in the sky. So this one's out. So hopefully, here's hoping. See you guys tomorrow night. Okay guys, this is night number 4. So hopefully four times the charm here. And I think I'm in good shape. I know I've said that like the past 3 nights and it's not worked out, but these skies are crystal clear. Transparency's excellent. Seeing is supposed to be actually good, average to good, which is awesome. I'll take that any day of the week. Really excited about that. So here's hoping to have a nice clear night, and if the weather behaves, I plan on shooting at least 5-6 hours tonight. So I'm gonna get everything wired up, geared up, and calibrated and ready to go. And I will see you guys shortly. Okay, so this is just one of those nice nights, guys, where everything's going smoothly. Polar alignment was a breeze, didn't take any time at all. Getting the go-to set up and plate solved was a piece of cake. And a lot of this is just because of how clear it is. That just helps everything. The clarity of the sky, the seeing conditions, everything is going really smooth. Only thing is, at this point, my target, which is IC 342, the hidden galaxy, is still below my roof line. So I've got about another hour before I can get to that. So in the meantime, I'm just kind of fooling around, taking a few subs of some targets I really wanted to do earlier in the summer, but just didn't get around to doing, like NGC, I believe it's 6988. It's part of the Seda region. It's really cool. It's got a lot of red H-alpha nebula, and in the middle, depending on how you compose the picture, it's got a little bit of blue, a little bit of reflection nebula around some stars. Really cool composition. But anyway, that's what's going on right now. Hopefully here in an hour I'll have my setup running for the next 2 hours or so, at which point I'll check focus again. The temperature is going to drop a couple degrees, so there shouldn't be too much focus shift, but that is something to watch out for. If you're imaging and your temperature is dropping dramatically, but really, just as a rule of thumb for me, anything more than 3 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to want to recheck. And it depends on the kind of imaging system you have as well, the scope you have. Some hold that temperature, that ambient temperature, better and longer, but just to be on the safe side, after about 2 hours or so of imaging, if there's been a few degrees difference, I go ahead and get the scope pointed at another bright star and check focus, because there's nothing worse than spending half an evening imaging only to find that half of it or more you have to dump because your focus shifted, the focal plane shifted, and you now have soft subframes. So something to watch out for. Well, anyway, guys, I'm gonna get back out here and see how this is going, and I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, so I have got about, I think, 6 hours of data on the hidden galaxy so far, and I just ran it through a real quick a real quick edit in Photoshop, real quick stretch, just to see what I had. And I got to tell you, even with 6 hours of data, this is going to need more data, and I can see why this target is as challenging as it is. And why, a lot of people skip over it, I think, just because it is such a challenging target to really pull out that good signal, which it can be done. I think it's just going to require probably twice as much data as I've put into it already. So I'm going to keep working on that. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and run an edit on what I do have, show you guys how I do that, and kind of give you a preview of what to expect with this target with the setup that I use. So that's what I'm going to do here now, is run this through an edit on Photoshop, get it stacked in DSS, edit it in Photoshop, and then, you know, show you guys what I came up with, what the initial results are. So here we go. All right, guys, so this is the stacked image of IC 342, also known as the Hidden Galaxy. And this is about 6 hours of data. I believe it was about 40 or 50 stacked frames. That was all stacked in Deep Sky Stacker. If you're not familiar with Deep Sky Stacker, here is a link to the program, and I'll actually put a link in the description to a video I've done showing how to use Deep Sky Stacker when stacking deep sky targets such as galaxies and nebulas. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with this. Now, this was drizzled, so which means they interpolated the data. It tries to help restore some signal, but it makes the image huge. Like, look at the size of this thing. It's 554 megs. So let's chop that down to size a little bit just to make it a little more workable. 300 dpi, there we go. And that'll make the process a little quicker too. So let's duplicate this layer, and let's perform that initial stretch. Do arc sine 30, and there it is, starting to show already. Let's flatten that out. Let's go do a levels check. Let's bring that over right there. Okay, and let's do another stretch. Alright, now's the point you want to pull out that light pollution. So that's what I'm going to do next here. And what you're looking for is just kind of like an overall average. So let's color sample. I do a 5x5 average, but you can play around with that. You can do 3x3 point sample. I think at the very least 3x3 or 5x5. You could even do 11x11. Let's see how that does. And let's pull this kind of greenish tone right there. I've clicked on it, hold down alternate backspace, and that will change that entire layer into that averaged color. So let's click on the background, apply image, change this to, make sure that's unmerged, but change this to subtract, offset 30. It'll probably be on normal or something else, so make sure you go to subtract. Offset you can do anything from 20 to 40 is probably good. I like 30, so that's what I do. Alright, so now that that's done, let's throw away that top layer. And there we go. Now, as you can see, there are some serious grading issues. Some of this has to do with the fact that I did not do a good job shooting a white balance, custom white balance for this using the Luminance Pro filter, which really loving the results of that filter already. It's been tremendous in helping improve the signal to noise ratio. So that part's been fantastic, but I didn't do a good job, and you've got these really uneven gradients, and I think that's part of the issue here. But anyway, Gradient Exterminator will get that out, so that's going to be our next step. Let's go ahead and do that. So what I like to do, because I don't want it messing with the galaxy, this area looks pretty good, so let's just make sure that's protected. I have that feathered at 30 pixels. Select inverse. Okay, and then let's go ahead and run the filter, RC Astro Gradient Exterminator. If this is a plugin you don't have, download it. It's on Russell Croman's website, Gradient Exterminator. It's worth every penny. It is fantastic at removing gradients. For this one, because this is pretty severe, I'm going to have it on medium detail and aggressiveness high. There we go. Look at that. That's just incredible. Love that plugin. Love it. Check this out. Before, zoom in so you guys can actually see this. Look at that. After. It just completely flattens out the image and removes those gradients beautifully. So let's flatten that out. Okay. Now, before we move on to another stretch, let's check levels. Move that over a little bit. And let's protect our stars here. Okay, protect our star color. The arc sign stretches help protect some of that already, but you need to still restore some of that color in the stars before you do another stretch. So that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to go to Select, Color Range, Highlights, and we want, let's see, lower the fuzziness slider down. We want to just select all those stars there. Okay, that looks pretty good to me there. We'll modify, expand that by 2 pixels. There we go. And let's create a mask. Let's take a look at that mask. So if you hold alternate and left click on the mask, we can pull it up. Okay. This is all the white. In Photoshop, white reveals and black conceals. So only the areas that are white are going to be affected by any adjustments I make with the color saturation at this point. That's what's awesome about masks. If you're not using layer masks in your editing, you really need to start using them. It will make a tremendous difference in the final output of your image. So I'll put some links in the description where I go into a little more detail on using layer masks as well. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. So let's Control U and let's increase the saturation here a little bit for just the stars. You don't want to go crazy with it. You see that? Just probably, fairly strong. We'll go, we'll do like a 40 here. Okay? And we're going to change that layer to a color layer. Alright, and that'll help reduce the noise that you add when you do that increase in saturation. And also, just go to the background layer, bring up curves, and we're going to make an adjustment up here. We're going to change this to 245, and this stays at 255, and then you're going to click right in the center, and it should read 128, 128. There we go. Alright, there's our color saturation boost, which helps restore some of that color that we lost doing those 2 stretches. So let's flatten this out. And now let's just stretch. Let's try something here. Let's use a mask to just try and stretch the nebula and not everything else around it. So let's go to color range again. We're going to do sampled colors, and we're going to sample right around here. We just wanted to pull up the, I don't know if we'll be able to do that with what. Oh, maybe. Okay. That might work. Let's just try this. Let's just see what happens here. Let's click on that mask. Alright, so it won't stretch the stars as much, but it should stretch everything else around that. Let's do a curves adjustment here, because we want it to stretch more of that nebula, but not so much of everything else. Okay. Let's just see what this does. I don't know if I'm going to like this or not, but let's just give it a go. I usually still do a more just blanket arc sign stretch on the whole picture, but let's just see how this goes. So, Control M, arc sign, we'll just do the 10. Okay. That's not bad actually. And the star color's still holding up pretty good. So I kind of like that. We got a little vignette going on because of the mask, the way I did it. But I like what it did with the stretch. Let's flatten that out. We can fix this. Let's do what we did before with Gradient Exterminator. Select the galaxy. Select inverse because we want to correct this now. We've got a pretty massive vignette from the way I did that mask. I could have refined that a little better, but that's okay. Here we go. Filter A.V.Astro. Let's just try medium. Let's see what happens. If I don't like it, we'll run it again with a more aggressive. Oh no, that's great. That's perfect. Deselect. There we go. We got some stacking artifacts here. Let's go ahead and crop those out a little bit. I don't want to crop that. Look at that. There's a little galaxy up in the corner there, I think. Oh, that's awesome. I love it when you look at a picture and you've got your main target, and then in the background you've got these unsuspecting little gems, like this little, what appears to me to be a galaxy. I'm going to check this out now, though. It's got my interest peaked on that. Anyway, let's crop this out like this. All right, and we'll probably need to do it again. Actually, it looks like I didn't quite get those stacking artifacts out. Look at that. I like it, guys. That's great. So let's flatten that out. We still got some star color hanging on there, the blues and the oranges. And let's do a levels check. We can bring that slider back a little. All right. So at this point, I'd like to go into Camera Raw Filter and see what kind of tweaking we can do in there. So same thing for reducing noise, because there certainly is some. It's not horrible, but there's some noise. There's especially some luminance noise. Let's we don't want it to mess with the stars or the galaxy, so let's mask this out. Color range again, and let's do. Oh, there we go. That's mostly the galaxy. All right. So what we're going to do is select the inverse of this. All right, mask it. Let's take a look at that mask. Okay, so it won't mess with, it's just going to mess with all the background. It's not going to mess with the stars so much or the nebula. So let's see how this works with noise reduction on Camera Raw Filter. Let's zoom in here, see what happens. Luminance. It's pretty good there. Color noise. Okay. Let's zoom out. Okay. And let's do a little sharpening. But I think this is going to sharpen the wrong section. Yeah, we don't want to sharpen the background. Okay. So that's our noise reduction. That's pretty good. I think our exposure is good. I'm not going to mess with that slider. Texture. I mean, we can add some. You see what it does here, though. It's really just... It helps with detail a little bit, but you just add some of that noise right back in. So it's kind of a balancing act. Same with clarity. You can bump that up a little bit, but I don't like the halo effect it's producing on those stars. Little vibrance push, little saturation push. Tell you what, we're just going to skip this part, leave these alone for now. We're just going to use this for the noise reduction. Okay, let's flatten that out. Alright, let's do a mask again. And this time we want it to select the galaxy and the stars and stuff. So let's do that, mask it out. That looks pretty good to me. It's maybe darken the background a little bit more, because we want it to just improve on that structure, the main structure. Okay, let's run Camera Raw Filter again. Alright. Let's go to sharpening. It's subtle, but it's, I mean, look at this. I can drag the slider all the way over and it's just subtly, this happens when I change the radius. I don't want to increase too much noise. Detail. Masking.
I usually keep these lower. That's a pretty aggressive sharpen. I don't know if you can see the changes here, but it's not huge, but it's there. Okay. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, it's just making those stars pop a little more than I'd like. That's the only thing about these. Oh, there we go. That's really making that galaxy pop a little more without messing with the stars too much. There we go. I think I kind of like that, guys. That's okay. Look at that. Galaxy starting to come to life there. All right. So let's look at levels. Yep, we can bring it back just a tad. We might can run a stretch again. I don't know that it's going to... Again, I don't know that I have enough data to really pull another stretch on this. Okay. So I did a levels adjustment. How's the noise? It's a little noisy. Some more data will help with that. I don't want to soften it too much, but let's just take a look and see what happens. Let's go into camera raw filter. See if that luminance noise can be softened up a bit without sacrificing too much detail. Yeah, it's just, I can soften it a tad, maybe right about there. See what that does. We still got some detail there. It's not bad. Well, guys, I'm pretty happy with that. 6 hours of data. That's not bad. And this is until I get some more data on this, I think this is going to have to do. But you know what? I'm pretty proud of that. I've got some good star color. I've got some decent detail out of this galaxy, all done on the Canon 77D DSLR. I can only imagine with a faster imaging system and a cooled astronomy camera, dedicated camera, how much better this even would have turned out then. So I'm very pleased with this. But so that is going to conclude the editing portion of this video. Guys, I hope you found that editing session helpful. Hope you got something out of the video here today. This was a very challenging target, and while I'm pretty happy with what I've achieved so far, there's definitely a lot more to be attained with that target. So this is one I'm going to continue to use my time to get some more data, hopefully another 5-6 hours, and we'll see how that compares to the original result. Also, if you guys are interested in any of the gear I use or that I recommend, I've got some links down in the description that will get you started off on the right foot. And in addition, I've got a link to OPT telescopes. Excellent company, excellent service, and they've got a wealth of knowledge over there. And what I like about OPT is if you've got a question about something technical or anything pertaining to astrophotography, they got a team of people over there that know what they're doing and can help you out. So great place to shop for your astrophotography gear, and a great team of people over there willing to help you out. Well, guys, that's going to be it for this evening. If you got something out of it, you liked it, be sure to give me a thumbs up and think about subscribing. And as always, thank you for watching. God bless. Keep on looking up. Keep on seeking. And until next time, clear skies.